Week 9 has arrived, and we find ourselves on high school football holy ground as the 7-time state champion Hamilton Huskies hosts the Red Mountain Mountain Lions. Greeting and welcome, everyone. Zach Warhack alongside Chris Andriotis. And Chris, let's start right there with Red Mountain, the visiting team here tonight, coming off 3 straight losses, a tough one against Queen Creek, 45-21, the final there, but the cherry on top, they lose starting quarterback Simon Lopez to a hamstring injury.
Yeah, it's a big loss, having to reconfigure their offense a little bit. They're going to go with Kyle Heap tonight. I think they're going to have a lot of questions answered tonight. If they can come out and run the football like they want to and they need to going into a potential playoff run. And just to get back to their winning ways, the defense was uncharacteristically porous last week, I would say. And they need to get back to playing the hard-nosed defense that we're used to seeing from Kyle Ender's coach defense.
And on the flip side of things for Hamilton, tonight ends up being the battle of the backup quarterbacks. The 5th-ranked passer in the state of Arizona for 6A, Beckham Pellant, out with a broken hand. So Rich Lucero Jr. gets the start tonight for them. More of a mobile quarterback, but you don't want to run a lot and take those hits when you're down to your second man. So you look to that 2-back set of Braylon Blunt and Avery Knight. What can you tell me about those guys?
I think the run game has been, fantastic. They have a very big, very strong offensive line, and I think they're going to lean on those guys tonight. I think both teams are going to come out and try to establish their run game and keep their quarterbacks upright and, try to limit their runs and them getting out of the pocket. So it'll be interesting to see how the defenses respond and how they're able to, if they're able to stop teams from running the ball and from quarterback sitting in the pocket and having all day to throw.
Both of these teams battle-tested. Red Mountain led by Kyle Enders. As for Hamilton, Michael Zadebski, the head coach for this team. And strength of schedule has been something for both these sides that has been tough throughout the season. And Red Mountain kick it away. Hamilton receive, and Bernard picks this one up just in front of the end zone and gets his legs churning early. Good return from Bernard to get out. And that sends out the offense for Hamilton High School, led by Rich Lucero. 382 points on the season for this offense, and Lucero has seen time in multiple games, but getting the start, something newer for him. He's no slouch at the position, though. 9 total touchdowns and a QBR of 107 on the season.
That's pretty good. So we'll see what he's able to do tonight against this defense that's has something to prove.
Protecting the ball, always important as well. To notate for Lucero, no turnovers. Hasn't thrown an interception, hasn't lost a fumble on the season. Hamilton start the drive from their own 20, and Lucero keeps, looks to throw over the top, and a good connection, a first down on the first play of the game. Dylan Lord still going by the Red Mountain sideline till he finally gets pushed out of bounds, and that's what you get from the 4th-ranked receiver in the state of Arizona, Dylan Lord and Legend Bernard, the dynamic duo on the outside for Hamilton.
Yeah, both of them really, like you said, dynamic and able to make plays after the catch. Very, very special receivers, and it's something to have 2 of those guys on one squad.
Toby Mealer in on the left side of the line for Hamilton. Keep an eye on that here for this game. One of those talented offensive front presences, and they run behind him this time around as Blunt spins out of a tackle and still going. So yards after contact have been very prominent and effective for Hamilton runners early on.
Blunt is a very elusive back. He's able to stop and start very quickly and get to full speed within a step or two. He's a very dynamic back, and I think they're going to feed him the ball at least 20 times tonight, I would imagine.
Not a big kid, only 5'7", 165, but as you mentioned, shifty, and he knows how to break a big play. Second pass for Lucero of the game goes far sideline and connects with Lord.
That's a big-time throw. He just threw a 10-yard, 15-yard out across the field. Not many high school quarterbacks can make that throw, Zach.
And that's not even the starter for this team normally, brought in after injury, but the Hamilton offense moving very effectively early on as Lucero, both of his throws have connected with Dylan Lord. Lucero back to pass again over the middle and wide open, finds Legend Bernard this time around. And the chains continue to move for Hamilton on this opening drive.
And that's something to watch. Red Mountain brought pressure that time. When you have a quarterback that's not as battle-tested You bring pressure from different locations, try to get him off his rhythm, try to get him to panic and make a bad throw. Not that time. He put it right on the money for another first down.
Hamilton very comfortable on the opening drive, just over a minute gone, and already in red zone territory at Red Mountain's 20. Barron gets into the backfield, and you talk about Blunt, just continues to churn and fight after contact. Barron had him for a loss at first. He gets back to the line of scrimmage and even picks up a yard.
Yeah, I've noticed that not one of the Hamilton offensive players have gone down on the first hit tonight thus far. That's going to have to change if Red Mountain's going to have a shot at winning this game.
Lucero throws far sideline, and the first incompletion of the night from Lucero. Bernard was the intended target and one of the favorite targets of this team. 46 receptions on the season for Legend Bernard. That time couldn't connect. So signs of life from the Red Mountain defense. 3rd down and 9 upcoming for Hamilton. They throw over the middle, quick slant, and Bernard works after the catch, and he's close to the end zone. The officials spot him just short at the 1.
It looked like his knee might have gone down right before he crossed the goal line. That was an RPO where the quarterback's reading the second-level player and made the right decision there, threw the slant, and looked like he got very close to a touchdown there.
Lucero got it out quick, and Bernard had room to work with and do what he does after the catch. So just over 2 minutes gone on this opening drive for Hamilton at home as they look to punch it in from the 1. Lucero goes to throw back shoulder. Castaneda in on the coverage as they jostle for possession.
There's no call.
No signal yet from the officials.
They're going to talk about it?
Bernard heads back to the sideline, and it looks like the special teams unit comes out, so no signal, but a touchdown for Legend Bernard on the opening drive for Hamilton.
Pull that up and see if you can get a better look.
Never got a signal from the officials, but the personnel change and the extra point attempt coming shortly. Stojanovic into attempt. Up and through, and a 7-0 lead for Hamilton with a 2-minute and 16-second opening drive.
Yeah, if you go to the replay here, it's just a quick little speed out. See if we can get a better view here. Throws it to the front pylon. Great catch, and Castaneda, there's not much he could really do there. I mean, he was draped all over him. You know, that's just a great throw and catch right there.
Tight coverage from Castaneda, but when you're going up against a wide receiver who leads 6A in touchdowns and tacks onto that with his 11th of the season, you're at task.
Oh, for sure.
So everything Hamilton draw up in script on the opening drive works out as they lead 7-0, and Red Mountain look to respond, and we'll see what kind of an offensive look we get from them.
Definitely important at this juncture that Red Mountain come out and answer. And that doesn't necessarily even mean points, but they need to come out and drive the ball, get the ball into positive territory, and if nothing else, give their defense a rest. Because that was a pretty quick drive. They went down the field, was it 9 plays, 8 plays? Get those guys some rest and flip the field.
Gunnar Moore lets this one go over his head into the end zone. And a player down around the 30 for Red Mountain on the special teams unit, and that's Champ Jennings, and that's not a sign you want to see if you're Red Mountain. Favoring the ankle, looking up to the sky, but Jennings leads this team in tackles and really a key player in the linebacking core. So we'll keep an eye on that down on the sideline as he gets worked on. But shift focus to the field for the opening drive of Red Mountain is Kyle Heap out on the field as he gets the start tonight with the hamstring injury to Simon Lopez. And he has Zay Savoy with him in the backfield.
A new wrinkle tonight for the Red Mountain offense is number 9, Jackson Griffin.
He takes a deep shot early and a flag down at the 50. So an early shot taken and it pays off.
Well, like I was saying, Jackson Griffin is going to play tight end this week. So that adds a more physical presence on on the line as a blocker. And he's a pretty good athlete, and I would imagine they might throw him a pass here and there, perhaps.
It's good to see a little bit of a change-up in personnel. That time, Kingston Spivey with the flag. And that moves the ball up to the 35 for Red Mountain.
I like the aggressiveness. I like the call going up top early. Keep them on their toes.
Heap under center, and he puts Wagner in motion. Savoy with the carry, tries to bounce it to the outside, cuts back a couple of times, and positive yardage after being touched in the backfield by Jalen Jones as well as Najee Sherrod.
Yeah, that was a nice job making something out of nothing there. It looked like he was corralled and then just put his foot in the ground and got a couple yards.
Nothing's going to come easy against this Hamilton defense,
No.
so all the extra work from Zay Savoy will be needed tonight.
And I believe it's number 9, Jalen Jones is their standout outside linebacker.
He certainly is. We'll break down all the details about him as the game goes on. That time, pass goes into the ground intended for Savoy. And just a tough one. You want to at least get it in the hands of your back and have him the opportunity to work with it after the catch, but an incompletion.
Yeah, now it's 3rd and 7 here, so we'll see what they dial up.
Three wide receiver set to the top of the screen, and Preston Heap down at the bottom at tight end. Kyle Heap takes the snap.
Good protection.
Has a clean pocket, steps up and throws, takes a shot, and Wagner just couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, that was actually a really spot-on throw there from Heap. You know, that was an improv. I think they just he broke contain. Bodie went long. You know, the general rule is short guys go long guys come back, and trying to make a great play. It's just out of his reach, though. He, couldn't get his hands on it.
A promising look, though, that throw from Kyle Heap on the run with the shoulder injury. He put it right on Wagner.
He did. Promising, but not a great start offensively for the Mountain Lions here.
They only took away about a minute on that drive as Mauder punts this one away. Lord steps up to receive it and goes down. Logan Haney falls on top of him, and we await the second offensive possession of the evening for Hamilton. Everything was clean and crisp on the first drive of the game and pretty effortless for that Hamilton offense.
It certainly looked that way. The pass protection was outstanding, other than the one time they brought pressure, and the quarterback Lucero was able to get it out before they got home. So Red Mountain's going to have to take some more chances, I think, defensively if they're going to have a shot.
So Hamilton gets set up, and Rock Miller showing pressure and comes. Lucero looks to run as he breaks the first tackle and gets brought down after a gain of a couple by Mauder.
Yeah, there you go, a design quarterback run there, it looked like. I don't know how many of those we'll see if he's already the backup, but good job keeping Red Mountain honest, adding the quarterback run in there.
Good news defensively for Red Mountain. Champ Jennings checks back into the game. We saw him favoring that ankle during the special teams play on the kickoff, but back in at his linebacking position. This time the give goes to Blunt, and he gets sandwiched by a couple Red Mountain defenders, and it brings up third down.
That was Jennings there who wrapped him up low. That was a good job filling the hole there and not letting him get away.
Lucas Wilson, Seth Barron, and Carson Mauder, the three on the front for Red Mountain. Third down and long. Lucero back to pass. Has time, and he evades the tackle from Barron. And Lord does a good job finding the soft spot and a big third down conversion for Hamilton.
Yeah, like you said, that was a savvy football play by Lord. Not panicking, just kind of finding a window to sit in and being patient, and the quarterback found him, delivered a strike, and they get a first down.
Lord and Bernard, the only two recipients of passes on these first 2 drives. So the offense, you can see where it runs through in the aerial attack, and on the ground, it's all been Braylon Blunt. Blunt with the carry this time, and Barron has him for a second, and he escapes again. That's about the 3rd time already where Blunt has been dead to rights and somehow gets out of it.
The best way I can describe his running style is violent. And that's saying something when he's an undersized guy. But, man, he just launches himself into that line, and he does not go down easy.
Lucero has time, rolls out, and finds a connection with Sabrim Torres. And that gets Hamilton back into scoring territory just outside of the red zone.
Yeah, Lucero looks pretty solid thus far.
So as Hamilton continue to move the ball there, Lucero, as you mentioned, he's getting it down the field. And the last game against Castile when he came in where Pellant got hurt, he went 14 for 28, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 4 for 60 on the ground. So he's showing what he can do in that game where he plays the majority of it, but just stats sprinkled through game to game in the season when he's been asked to throw, 5, 6, 7 passes coming in late. He throws touchdowns, he's efficient, and he doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, and it's just watching him thus far has been really solid with his decision-making and his running ability. He's run just a couple times, and it's just enough to evade pressure or to pick up a few yards. Red Mountain's going to have to come up with something and do something differently because he seems to be picking them apart right now.
Lucero only a junior as well, so when you look about the next man up and the future of the team, I know obviously everyone focused on seeding, playoffs, Hamilton looking for the open bracket. It's been there since 2019, and they've made it to the open bracket every single year since its inception. So that's the focus right now, but with the success of Lucero coming in as a backup, I mean, the future is bright.
It certainly is. Certainly is with their I don't know how many of those linemen are seniors, but the line is playing a big part of that as well, keeping them upright.
Lucero, good clean pocket again, and he finds Lord. Brought down by a combination of Red Mountain defenders. Red Wing was the first one in on the tackle. Halfway through the first quarter, and Hamilton in red zone territory. Blunt gets the carry this time around, reaches forward. Jennings with another stop. So another 3rd down now for Hamilton. They've converted earlier on in this drive. And Red Mountain backs against the wall. Blunt with the carry. Rock Miller has him wrapped up, and finally a forced 4th down from the Red Mountain defense, but Hamilton in plus territory, I don't think they're going to be afraid to go for it with the 7-0 lead.
Now with the way they've moved the ball thus far, this is an opportunity for Red Mountain, though, to stop and hold them out without scoring. That's going to be huge to go to empty here.
Quick throw to the outside. Lord gets it, and he's pushed out of bounds by Miller. And just a good concept there to draw up that route. Lord gets the sticks, makes the catch out of bounds, and it's 1st down from inside the 20. Ball be spotted right around the 10 or 11.
Yeah, they're being very effective with the pass game. A lot of curl arrow concepts, a smash. They ran smash a couple times also. Not super complex, but very effective thus far.
Blunt has the edge, and he's going to power to try and fight into the end zone. Stopped just shy by Logan Haney. And Hamilton were able to achieve a 1st down if they made it to the 1. It depends on the spot.
I think they're just short. It looks like it's 2nd and a foot.
So last time Hamilton was this tight to the end zone, they went through the air. We'll see if Blunt gets the reward this time around. Blunt on the delay give, powers forward, and he stood up right at the goal line, and the officials blow it dead before he's pushed into the end zone.
I I think he might have gotten a first down, though. So it was a great stop, but they'll have another set of downs from the 1.
Tyler Udall comes in as a personnel change for Hamilton. He checks in at tight end in this goal line package. Bottom of your screen, you have Legend Bernard one-on-one against Castaneda. Blunt gets the carry and lunges forward, and the signal is good into the end zone. So Braylon Blunt with his 8th rushing touchdown of the season, and 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for Hamilton.
They're being very efficient. Not many mistakes thus far. Quarterback's been solid. Red Mountain's going to have to do something offensively now to come back and answer. I think more shots downfield might be the answer.
They had a couple from Heap to Wagner and then Gunnar Moore as well that drew the flag. So we'll see what they draw up as the extra point from Stojanovic goes through. 14-0 Hamilton with 4:14 left in the first on RMTV, and we'll step away. Red Mountain on a 3-game skid, and they already trail 14-0 early on in the first quarter. What do you have to do offensively to be able to keep your team in this game?
I think what you need to do is you have to establish the run game. You have to get Savoy going. If you're not able to do that and you become one-dimensional, they're not going to be able to drop back 50 times and win this game.
Yeah.
They're going to have to run the football here. So I think, you don't look at the scoreboard right now. You're not going to get all 14 back on one play, but you need to come out and put together a drive. So your best plays, whatever you got, you're holding. A good, sustained scoring drive is exactly what the doctor ordered here.
So Red Mountain start the drive from the 20 as Hamilton look to maintain this 14-point lead as Heap goes back under center. Savoy gets the carry and Sherrod meets him immediately. So Najee Sherrod in on the stop, and that's tackle number 52 on the season for him.
Trying to run, look like duo there, where you get 2 double teams at the point of attack. Kind of like a zone concept, but not much going there. Those linebackers are very quick to trigger.
Still positive yardage and a gain of 3 for Savoy on first down, brings up 2nd and 7. And here comes the Wildcat look as Savoy takes the snap and heads directly to his right, breaks a couple of tackles and still churning. Zay Savoy shows the power run as he fought off a tackle from Feinfrock and eventually brought down by Marquise Richardson on the near side of the field.
And that's the kind of run that you want to continue to feed him the football. Should have been tackled for a gain of maybe 2 and just kept churning his legs and kept fighting for extra yards, gets him a first down. Great play.
The Wildcat package, it's the first time we've seen it this season from Red Mountain, and productive on the first play called. Heap goes back under center. He has Talon Lamb in the backfield this time around. The give to Lamb up the middle and met immediately. Bo Jandrew, the first one in, and makes the tackle.
And Hamilton is not shy about bringing guys up into the box there. That was a 10-man box right there. That's going to be tough sledding for any offense to run the football against that kind of look. what I would expect is next time Red Mountain gets in that heavy set, I would expect a play action shot, maybe something up top. I think it was Bodie Wagner was the one wide receiver in on that set.
Yeah, you talk about the long game. You show stuff early so you can set it up for something late. We saw it last week with that sort of jet sweep action where they gave it to Bigler a couple of times, and then from there they took the shot over the top.
And then just there, they were about to run play action right there.
Early movement looks like on the left side of the line for Red Mountain, so the false start backs things up.
The good news is I'm glad they blew it there because it looked like Jalen Jones wasn't fooled, and he had his target set on Kyle Heap's back. So probably a good thing they blew that one dead.
Yeah, you don't want to let Jalen Jones have a free run at anybody because he's a hard hitter. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles when he has the opportunity.
No, he doesn't. And I think he came in with 11 tackles for a loss thus far in the season.
He lines up on the left side of the defense this time around. And Heap with the give, gets settled up, and not a lot of movement forward for Red Mountain, maybe a gain of a couple.
Yeah, so 3rd and 13 here, or 3rd and 14. What will Coach McDaniel dial up here? You get a softer coverage look here. Looks like they're playing straight cover 3. Or no, maybe not. Maybe it's silver.
Heap looks left, faces pressure, and takes a shot. Heap stays down on the field for a little bit, and he felt that one, and all 185 pounds of Bo Jandrew came in and took Heap out.
Yeah, Hamilton went straight man coverage, brought 2 free runners, free hitters in there to get through, and they both did. I'm impressed that Heap was able to get that throw off and still put enough on it to get it downfield.
Yeah, he looked for Wagner for the second time on a deep shot, unable to connect, and another punt upcoming. So Hamilton about to receive their 3rd offensive possession of the first quarter. Mauder end over end, and it skips at the 35 and rolls forward, and a good bounce goes out around the 26. So a nice punt from Mauder to get Hamilton set back just about as far as he can. But this Hamilton offense, it's been balanced early. It's been working both through the air, on the ground, a touchdown from each aspect of the offense. Anything Red Mountain can do different. I mean, it's looked like Lucero has had good clean pockets when he's been trying to pass, and it's just been yards after contact for Blunt on the ground.
They have mixed up coverages. They've played a little bit of man. They've played some zone. I think you have to maybe play more man coverage and try to get home before those receivers can get open. Maybe some more line stunts. There's no magic bullet. You're going to have to start playing better. That's the bottom line.
This time the give to Avery Knight, so that's that other running back in that dynamic duo for Hamilton. Knight, a senior, with his first carry of the game, picks up about half the yardage and brings up 2nd and 5.
Yeah, that's a nice little changeup when your backup tailback comes in and he's seems to be just as quick as the first one. I don't know if he's as elusive, but man, he gets downhill fast.
A little bit of a bigger profile, as this time a hesitation run from Knight, and he finds the edge. Knight still going out across midfield, and there's your answer. The quickness and speed in the open field from Knight, and a big pickup. Hamilton already across midfield after 2 plays.
Yeah, and that's demoralizing to a defense when the tailback's out of the game, starter, and then the backup comes in and runs right downhill at you for a couple big gains. They're going to have to step up their intensity level a little bit here.
Scott Hansen and crew said that Knight went out of bounds shy of midfield, but he gets it this time. And Jennings makes the stop and stays down for a second after the play. You wonder how much that ankle is giving him trouble.
Yeah. I feel like the Mountain Lions need some sort of spark here. I don't know what that could mean. A lot of different things. It could be a big play, maybe a forced turnover, anything, something. They seem to be a little bit out of it at this point, and they're not playing terribly. They're just getting beat at the point of attack. They're not making tackles on the first hit. Receivers are getting open, and the quarterback's finding them. So it's not like they're doing a lot of things wrong. I think they just need to do it better.
Hamilton with the 14-0 lead as the first quarter expires. They have 2nd down and 4 upcoming, and it's just been kind of chunk plays. And we saw on the previous drive, Red Mountain forced a couple of 3rd downs, got one of the stops, and then Hamilton went for it on 4th, and it resulted in the touchdown to Braylon Blunt. So they've just been very efficient as we switch fields this time around, both offensively but defensively. You talk about getting home. They've been bringing the pressure to Heap in the passing game, and contact has been initiated in the backfield on any carry to Savoy.
Yeah. The defense is going to have to do something. I'm not sure what else they can really do. Maybe different personnel, a different blitz look, maybe. I don't know. And then when they do get the ball back, they're going to have to find a way to move the football consistently, or it's going to be a long evening.
Yeah, when I spoke with head coach Kyle Enders prior to the game, he said the plan offensively was to really manage the clock and give Hamilton a limited amount of possessions, but they've already seen 3 through the first quarter, still working on that 3rd possession, the ball out at the 45, and Lucero starts the 2nd quarter, and it'll be a passing look for Hamilton. Deep shot taken, Castaneda in coverage. He gets there early, and the flag flies as Bernard came back to get it. And whenever you don't get that head turned and the contact goes, the flag will come.
He had a step on him, and I think Chris knew he was beat. So, in the grand scheme, it's a better play than letting him catch it and run and score a touchdown. But still not ideal. You'd want him to be in better position. These 2 receivers are pretty good. Some of the better ones we've seen this year. So it's a big ask.
If you want to break down all the stats and analytics and you say they're a pretty good duo, yes, they certainly are. Dylan Lord, 2nd most receiving yards in 6A, 5th most receiving yards in 6A belong to Legend Bernard. So, 2 top 5 receivers. As the screen pass set up this time for Avery Knight out of the backfield, has room, cuts back, and Knight fights his way into the end zone. And an opportunity for a 21-0 lead pending the extra point for Hamilton.
Yeah, it looked like it was a screen pass there, some good pressure from the D-line, and it looked like Jamison Wade had a beat on it and a shot, but was not able to bring him down. And he just trucked his way into the end zone.
Fourth receiving touchdown on the season for Avery Knight, his 12th overall. As the lead continues to increase for Hamilton, and Red Mountain need to stop the bleeding at some point. Just 17 seconds gone in the 2nd quarter.
Penalty on the last offensive drive, puts him at 2nd and long, not able to get half of that or even a portion of that back, forced into 3rd and long. They need to stay on schedule. And if that might mean just 3 yards in a cloud of dust until they get something going and they're able to start moving around and running play action and all that, because I think about the worst thing that could happen right now, other than a turnover, would be another 3 and out.
Right. That takes away no clock from Hamilton, gives them the ball right back, and your defense doesn't get the breather that they need after they've been on the field for a majority of the night up to this point.
Yeah. Maybe a spark in the special teams game. Maybe a return here.
Yeah, Moore hasn't had a chance at one. Thus far, Stojanovic has a pretty big leg. This time, a squib look. Still makes its way through the end zone. And no chance on special teams for Red Mountain.
I would imagine we might see that Wildcat look again, since it was effective on the one time they did it. They have Griffin back in at tight end here. So that certainly indicates a possible run look.
Griffin back in, Heap under center, so they don't pull the Wildcat out just yet on this drive. And Heap gets everything set up and a couple in motion. Skidmore and Griffin make movement, and the pitch goes to Savoy. Savoy finds a little bit of a lane, and then Marquise Richardson brings him down.
Just seems like some lackadaisical blocking at the point of attack there. I feel like they had numbers. They shifted both of the tight end and the wing over, and they had 2 receivers out there. They should have had at least a head on a head.
Empty set this time around for Heap, as Savoy goes out into the receiving slot. A straight rollout for Heap, and he throws this one deep. Moore stopped his route, and that one overhead. Jalen Jones in on the coverage, and Jalen Jones does a whole lot of everything for this team defensively on Hamilton. Committed to Army. His dad played professional football, went to Indiana for his college ball. They also had a meeting with Jalen Jones, but he openly decided to go to Army. But
and that's really impressive, because that's a sacrifice above and beyond just playing college football.
Right. You got to do a little bit extra, but he does a lot already here for this Hamilton team. As you talk about his ability to blitz, stop the run, and that time around you see his effectiveness in coverage as he was stride for stride with Gunnar Moore.
And the hard count, an effective weapon there. They get number 99 to jump, and now they have a 3rd and manageable. I believe it's 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3.
Aram Diaz, the one to go across the line, and you talked about finding some sort of spark. A penalty helps out.
Yeah, there's no need to hold back at this point. Whatever bullets you have, you need to fire them.
Heap evades the blitz at first, and then he's met by a swarm of tacklers. Ben Jones brings Heap down right around the line of scrimmage, and the special teams unit back out onto the field.
And the difference that we're seeing between these 2 defenses is when Hamilton goes into their man-to-man coverage, the Red Mountain receivers are not able to shake loose and get open. And whereas on the other side of the ball, those 2 receivers are pretty much finding the open holes and getting away from man coverage and catching passes. So maybe a little bit overmatched at some of those skill positions at this point.
And from level to level, everything has been good on the Hamilton side defensively. The line is getting there and only giving Heap, 3-4 seconds to get a pass out or before he needs to scramble. And then a testament of that, like you're saying, comes from the coverage on the outside. If nobody's open, Heap's not going to throw it.
Yep.
Good punt this time from Mauter. Backs up Lord, but he finds a hole, makes a move, and gets out to the 40, ball on the ground.
Could that be the spark?
So Jennings in on the tackle and forces the fumble. We'll see who comes out of it at the bottom of the pile.
Maybe not.
And it stays with Hamilton. So Lord coughed it up, but Hamilton get it back. And so close to that one thing you need to go your way for Red Mountain, but unable to recover. And it ends up just being a good return of 19 for Dylan Lord.
And again, this is the challenge, especially for a high school player, is you have to kind of ignore the cumulative effect of what's been going on thus far in the game, and you really have to play this next snap. And not many kids are mature enough to be able to do that and just turn it off and just play that snap. Well, that's a great job there, stringing out Blunt there.
Blunt took it to the far side of the field, and Jamison Wade got to him first. So signs of life in pursuit defensively for Red Mountain, as Blunt only makes it back to the line of scrimmage. Lucero over the middle, finds Bernard, and a good open field tackle by Jennings, and he's the name that you call week in and week out on this defense for Red Mountain.
Yeah, that's a great job. They're just running a shallow route underneath, right in front of the linebackers. You know, if he misses that tackle, he's going to run for another 20 yards. So great job making the play, and they're in a 3rd and long here. And signs of life finally from this Red Mountain defense.
You need the stop for everything to pull through defensively. Lucero signals out to Bernard and communicates with him on the near side of the field. Red Mountain fans on their feet. Lucero has plenty of time, throws that out route, and it's incomplete.
And it looked like Rock Miller got pressure on him that time. Maybe he had to change his arm angle a little bit at the end. And finally, a Hamilton punt.
First stop of the night defensively for Red Mountain as they look to get themselves back in the game, down 21-0 with 8:50 remaining in the first half.
Let's see if Castaneda can provide a spark here with a return. This is an interesting punt formation here. They only have 3 guys on the line, 3 up backs.
And they still getting a couple of players out there. The play clock goes down to 0 and the flag flies for a delay of game on Hamilton. So I'm not sure, a little bit of confusion from them getting the right personnel out onto the field or the formation. Well, the flag goes in the secondary by Castaneda, and then nothing moves. So seemingly it's been picked back up.
The only thing that would explain that would be perhaps an equipment issue.
That right there is the special teams unit just kind of falling asleep for Hamilton, and Red Mountain get a big break out of it. Logan Haney was coming back with the punt, and it hit him in the leg, and Hamilton was just watching it roll still as if they were waiting to down it, and I don't think that they recognized it hit Haney's leg, but that was a live ball.
And that's what you coach those guys to do. Like, if you're not sure, just get on the ball. You know, let the ref tell you, no, it wasn't touched. Don't let it roll around.
This Red Mountain team would have been down tremendously bad if they turned that one over on special teams there after getting their first stop of the evening. Heap with a quick pass, and finally a little bit of room for Gunnar Moore as the quick hitter works in a pickup of 8.
A little extracurricular. And sometimes that spark is all you need, is maybe somebody's being a little too rough and tumble after the play. I've seen one guy have a late hit, and it can turn a whole team around and just solidify their attitude. So maybe that's the spark they need.
So they spot the forward progress as a gain of 10. So 1st and 10 from the 30. Savoy falls forward for a gain of a couple.
Man, they have not been able to get him going where he gets a good 3-4 steps without somebody being on him.
You talked about that one play on the previous drive where it looked like they had things set up, was the pitch to the near sideline. Mm-hmm. They had blockers out in front, a couple receivers, and he just couldn't find the hole to get a full head of steam.
No, it's tough. Asking wide receivers to be lead blockers, unless they're very special, that's going to be a tough ask, especially against a defense this gifted athletically.
So a false start prior to the snap, and things will back up for Red Mountain.
Although usually that's one of the first things you do to separate, who can be a varsity wide receiver, is who's willing to go in and block on the run plays. Because, a lot of guys can run and catch, but are you willing to do the work, the dirty work, to make the offense go? A lot of guys in the box right now.
Heap out of the pistol, motion Savoy forward to be next to him, flanking his left side. Pressure comes, Savoy has the right side, and there's the burst of speed for Zay Savoy. Out across the 50, and Savoy gets taken by the ankles by Kingston Spivey. And a big run from Zay Savoy.
And that's how they have to make them pay. They're playing with no deep safety, straight man coverage, tight man coverage. He breaks first level. You know, he has to go find somebody to go tackle him. So great job breaking him loose. They need to do more of that.
Savoy back-to-back carries up the middle and a bigger gain than just a couple.
And maybe that forces Hamilton to play more conservatively on the back end. So you might get more opportunities underneath, maybe more opportunities to run the football.
Red Mountain making the adjustments, certainly in the run game. And now second down and manageable gives you the opportunity to open up the playbook. LaRon Smith checks into the game, bottom of your screen for Red Mountain, but the give goes back to Savoy as he sheds a couple of tackles and churns forward. Ben Jones makes the stop.
There, you know, I can't see the young man's eyes from up here, but I would bet that if you looked in his eyes right now, they would say, "Feed me the ball." They need to continue to give that young man the ball and let him work.
It's been a lot of positive yardage for Savoy on this drive and an injury timeout. On the field, it looks like Bo Jondrew goes down and stays down after the play. And that could benefit this offense for Red Mountain, having to work hard in the run game, especially Zay Savoy, after the big pickup of 25, gets a little bit of a breather for himself.
And from a strategy standpoint, I can't help myself as a former play caller. 3rd and short in this part of the field, I would almost definitely think it's going to be a play action shot. I think it's the perfect scenario to do it. They're going to be loaded up to try to stop if you're getting the first down. You're probably going to get man coverage. This is a golden opportunity here.
It gives you the chance to open things up and break it open and cut the lead back to 14 and bring it within 2 scores.
Let's see what they dial up here. Ooh, a 3-back set.
And Heap goes to the outside, so it's that wildcat look for Savoy. Savoy gets it, comes up the middle, and has enough for the first down. That's been about the 3rd meeting of pad-to-pad between Savoy and Richardson in the secondary in this game. So signs of life now for the Red Mountain offense as they get the drive into Hamilton territory.
And it would be to score here. You know, as the clock ticks away, and they are doing a good job of chewing clock now as we're driving here. It's a game changer.
Red Mountain stick with the Wildcat. Savoy goes to the left side and scurries forward, and the pile pushes.
He is a man on a mission right now. And I think this is Zay Savoy saying, "Put him on my back, coach. I'll get it done."
Every man on a mission needs a little bit of a breather, though. And Savoy takes one this time around, taps the helmet, and says, "Hey, Talon, come in and relieve me for at least a play so I can get some air."
I think that was 5 straight carries at that point, so he's not Superman.
2nd down and 2 for the Red Mountain offense with Lamb in the backfield, Moore at the bottom of the screen, and Wagner one-on-one at the top.
I have never seen this. Look, their safeties are at 7 yards.
Heap takes a shot for Gunnar Moore in the end zone. They jostle for position, but Feinfrock able to make the stop defensively. And like you mentioned, one play, Savoy right back in.
Right back in. Well, now it's got to have it time. It's 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2. You know, just over 4 minutes left in the half. If they're going to have any chance in this football game, they need to score on this drive.
There's no doubt in my mind it's 2 plays here if you don't get the first down on this one.
Oh, yeah, they're not kicking a field goal at this point.
Savoy cuts back to the right. And the spot comes in right around the 24.
Looks like 4th and 1.
So a yard shy, and we'll see what they draw up. I mean, the pile has moved forward. The offensive line has done a great job in this Wildcat set. And it looks like Red Mountain are going with a sneak look from Heap, and that's going to force a timeout from Hamilton.
And that may be just to say, hey, watch the hard count. Don't jump off sides.
Yep, they give the look with Heap under center, and you would imagine that the Hamilton defense was anticipating the Wildcat look from Savoy to come again, since it's been working so well on this drive.
Yeah, and I think they had some success when they ran off tackle when Hamilton was in that man look. So I think they should, go back to that. Hasn't been a lot going, in the interior, but just off tackle, they've been able to get some positive yardage. So I would anticipate maybe a power or a counter, get some bodies moving, get some of the big boys getting a head of steam on them.
This drive started near the 6-minute mark and around the 25, following the punt that hit Haney and was a live ball, but Red Mountain were able to fall on top of it. And now they get into Hamilton territory just outside of the red zone. Red Mountain come back out with the same look. It's Heap under center. Fullback movement, and a flag goes early, and that might benefit Red Mountain even if it backs them up, because he wasn't getting the first down.
They tried to go fullback dive there, and Hamilton was all over it.
They handed it to Mauder, and it looks
what
like
is the call?
The penalty looked like it was almost signaled against Hamilton, and it backs things up and makes it a first down.
Oh, they jumped perhaps, or lined up in the neutral zone.
Inside the neutral zone. And that call definitely benefits Red Mountain now, because Mauder was stopped behind the line, and that may be the reason why. Hamilton get the early jump on the line. And now with 3.5 left in the first half, Savoy back in the Wildcat.
And over the last few weeks, this has been where it gets tough sledding for Red Mountain here. They've struggled in the red zone and punching it in for touchdowns. Time really not a factor here. Another injury, another man down for Hamilton.
It was a good stop by Sherrod, and I think he is the one staying down on the field. It looks like he's holding that shoulder, and no, it's not Sherrod, it's Caleb Smith, who's down on the field as he gets checked out by the training staff and up to his feet quickly.
Yeah, I think he just ended up on the bottom of a pile there. A lot of crazy things happen on the bottom of piles in football games, Zach.
I don't want to even imagine the progression of it through the years. I feel like people get innovative with things that they may try on the bottom of the pile, something I don't want to be a part of.
Oh, I could tell you some stories from back in the day.
2nd and 8, and Heap gives the stretch to Savoy as he tries to find room on the outside, has a little bit. And Marquise Richardson with his 4th tackle of the game.
And I do like that stretch look. I think they need to go back to that. Picked up a few yards there. And as you said, definitely 2-down territory here at this point, in this juncture in the game.
You almost feel like it's going to be 4-down territory every drive for Red Mountain if they get near midfield.
I would think so. And we talked about this last week, those middle 4 to 8 minutes, the last 4 of the half and the first 4 of the second. Red Mountain really in a unique position here. If they're able to punch this in, they get the kickoff to start the second half. It could be a 1-touchdown game.
Heap through the air this time, and he finds his brother, Preston Heap, and he's brought down at the 1. A nice connection between Kyle and Preston.
And they're going up tempo here.
Heap with the sneak.
Oh, he's got to be in.
And he's spotted short, it looks like, as the officials pull everyone off the pile. It was almost like a first effort, and there was no second chance there.
When you look at it from this angle, yeah, I don't know if his body was able to break the plane. But again, it's almost a blessing as far as clock management now, because now you can run out the clock down as low as you want. As long as you punch it in, that's the only thing that matters at this point.
Savoy from the Wildcat walks into the end zone, and 3 straight weeks, Isaiah Savoy has found the painted area.
And a really impressive answer there. They did it on the back of Zay Savoy, and a nice timely throw there from Kyle Heap to his brother, the heap-to-heap connection. And the Mountain Lions are back in this football game, you know, provided that they don't let anything crazy happen in this last minute and a half. With those receivers, though, there's no, you know, it's not easy holding them out when they're in a 2-minute look. So it'll be interesting to see if Hamilton comes out aggressive, or if they play conservatively and just run the clock out and go into the half with a 2-touchdown lead.
A minute 34, plenty of time to drive for this offense of Hamilton that we've seen a lot of chunk plays from already. But Zay Savoy on that drive, showing his worth as an underrated back, transferring from Apache Junction, not a 6A school, and you wonder how he performs against the big dogs. Doesn't get much bigger than 7-time state champion Hamilton High School, and right now they're ranked 5th and in the open bracket, but Zay Savoy able to rip off big runs and fight against this talented defense of Hamilton.
He is, I would say right now, single-handedly keeping them in this football game. And now that they've established that, they can build off that going forward. So like I said, now the play action becomes more of an option. Now drop back out of run looks becomes an option.
That drive was close to 5 minutes, and not only the score is a good thing for your team, but the biggest benefit of it all is it gives your defense a rest.
Yes.
They've been on the field for the entirety of this game, and at least the whole first quarter is what it felt like. So a methodical drive, almost like we saw them managing the game against Highland earlier in the season, as well as ALA Queen Creek.
And the thing from the perspective of Hamilton, defensively, they can't do anything different. They can't commit more guys to the box. They already had 9 or 10 in there as it was. So there's really no adjustments they can make in that regard.
A testament to the offensive line of Red Mountain with guys like, Hector Martinez, Diego Villalobos, and even those tight ends. You mentioned it, a different look in personnel sets. We've seen Cannon Skidmore in the game as well as Jackson Griffin on those offensive sets to provide a little bit of offense.
And now I feel like in this situation, the pressure's really on those corners. And I'm noticing Castaneda's not in the game right now.
A minute and a half for Hamilton to work with, and Isaac Haney in at corner replacing Castaneda. Throw over the top, and it's picked! James Krieger bringing the defense back to life for Red Mountain.
And a perfect look there in coverage. The corner passing it off to the safety reading it perfectly, making a break on the ball. What are they saying now? There's a penalty. Oh, no. I didn't see the call. Did you see what the call was?
They throw a flag. It looks like it's in the backfield right now. I'm not sure if it's a roughing the passer on Lucero. But
oh my goodness,
that is a huge swing of momentum. It negates the first interception that Lucero would have thrown of the season. And now Hamilton get the ball at the 40 and continue to work on this drive with 1:23 left. Big break that time around. Lucero with the delayed give, and now Blunt has a lot of room as he gets out to the 49.
Oh, that's a backbreaker, because at that point, you have the ball, you have a minute, chance to go down and score again. What a momentum swing that would have been.
Lucero pumps once and makes the throw, broken up nicely by Isaac Haney on the far side of the field. If they don't go up-tempo, do we have the replay of the hit that was called for roughing the passer?
Let me see if I can find that.
I think our replay may be down on the broadcast, but we'll be able to take a look at it at least from our end. It just won't be able to get fed to the stream. Lucero, quick pass over the middle, and Bernard has room to work with. Bernard spins out of a tackle and continues to work. Bernard finally brought down by Jennings. We just looking at the replay right now of the interception, and I think it's sort of that one-step rule from the officiating crew where they'll allow one step, but Jennings took a couple when he hit Lucero, and that's when they're going to call the late hit.
And it looked like it was helmet to helmet as well. So I think there was a double whammy.
Lucero steps up in the pocket, takes off and runs, and picks up positive yardage.
No, Hamilton calls it. I believe, is that their last timeout?
Yep, with 22 seconds left, they call it. And, you know, even though the away fans of Red Mountain aren't going to like that call, when we look at it on the replay, I know you guys can't see it at home, but a good call of whether it be a late hit or roughing the passer with the helmet contact. And this officiating crew has been together for a long time, led by Scott Hansen. Him and head linesman David Garcia have been doing this for 25 years together. And then when you look at umpire Dean Finch, him and Scott Hansen went to high school together. So a lot of history with this officiating crew.
I was just gonna say, when you're not talking about the officials, they're probably doing a really good job thus far, and I think these guys have been really solid thus far.
Yep, absolutely. They're seeing it both ways, letting players play for the most part and just making the calls when they need to.
Replay's back up.
We have the replay up, so while Red Mountain breaks out of the timeout, we'll see if we can take a look.
So if you watch here, you see 42 in the left side of your screen there. And you see the ball come out there. And 2 steps, and he runs through them. Ergo, the penalty.
And the contact a little high as well. So out of the timeout, Hamilton looked to take the shot over the middle, and it's hauled in. 15 seconds left, and that time the connection with Blunt out of the backfield.
And that was quite a catch. He went up and had it on his fingertips. And remember, in high school, the clock stops to reset the chains.
And the spike goes down, so 9 seconds left for Hamilton to work with. And Blunt showing that he can do it all out of the backfield, but that's only his 18th catch of the season. But for those 18 catches, he has 6 touchdowns on him. Yeah. So he's converted on a third of them into the end zone.
I would imagine you're either going to see some sort of jailbreak or rocket screen here, or just shots up top in the end zone. They could probably get 2 shots if you throw it in the end zone right away.
Yeah, if you call it about 4 seconds of play. Lucero takes a little more time, and he throws the quick hitter over the middle. Avery Knight with the reception into the end zone, and touchdown number 2 of the evening for Avery Knight.
Man, what a game-changing play that interception and penalty was there.
That is a big swing for Hamilton. Goes from an interception and Red Mountain having the opportunity to put more points on the board at the end of the half and then get the kickoff, to Hamilton increasing the lead back to 21.
Again, not out of it. I think more of what we saw in that last drive. Come out, make it a 2-touchdown game with a scoring drive, and then the defense is going to have to make a stop. They were able to get 1 stop in the first half. They're going to have to get a couple more here before it's all said and done.
A 28-7 lead now for Hamilton. Just 2 seconds left on the clock before we head to the half. So maybe expect a squib of some sort on the kickoff to run the clock there and not give Red Mountain the opportunity to take a snap. And Hamilton special teams unit on the far side of the field discussing just what they want to do and what the game plan is. Really great execution from Hamilton, though, to take the gift of the penalty with only 1 minute and 30 left and put a drive together and punch it in.
Yeah. It's a well-coached football team, for sure.
Michael Zadebski, the head of that. And just a really successful program overall, not even in recent years, but since the inception of Hamilton. Stojanovic lets this one fly and puts it into the back of the end zone as Moore caught it but unable to take it out. So 2 seconds left on the clock. You wonder if you give a handoff and see if Savoy can break one and get away with something at the end of the half, or you just take a knee and go into the locker room.
I think I would run a play here. Just send the message that, you know, there's no quitting. It's going to take a full concerted effort in this second half to turn this thing around.
And 3 players deep in the secondary for Hamilton around the 50-yard line. So not going to let anything get over the top and be able to step up and make a tackle too. Just a 3-man front for Hamilton. Savoy gets it and has a lot of room to work with, and he's able to make a big play out of it. Gain of 19, but not enough time on the clock, and a positive play brings Red Mountain into the half. They'll get the ball to start the second. But 28-7, Hamilton on top at home on RMTV. A 3-score lead for Hamilton at their homecoming night as we start the second half. Red Mountain will receive the kickoff, and a real dagger at the end of the half. With 1:30 left, Hamilton put together a drive to extend the lead even more, and it was close to being an opportunity for Red Mountain with an interception, but waved off with a personal foul on a flag with a late hit.
Yeah. And now Red Mountain has the opportunity to come out and make this a 2-score game again and get back into this football game.
Stojanovic gets it out and underway into the end zone. And Red Mountain ready to start this drive. Welcome back, everyone, to the broadcast. Alongside Chris Andriotis, I'm Zach Warhack. And a 28-7 lead for Hamilton, and they've been really efficient with everything that they've done. It's been mistake-free football up to this point on both sides of the ball. Up
to that point, yeah, where the interception that got negated was about the only hiccup we've seen thus far. So I would anticipate a heavy dose of Savoy coming out again, and maybe some play action and other things built off of that.
The touchback sets things up at the 20 for Red Mountain. And Heap ready to get things underway, and the clock begins to move off the snap. Savoy gets it and has some room out to the left side and brought down by Marquise Richardson. So the battle between Savoy and Richardson continues as those two have clashed 6 times through the first half and into the second now.
Yeah, and they're just running stretch there, which is a zone concept where everybody just opens and works to the play side and just create some running lanes for the running back, and they will get some success there.
A gain of 6 on first down, and Savoy gets it again, slips through the middle and out to the 30 for a first down.
Good start. Good start here. Two runs, first down. Now you see if they can get some momentum and build off of those run plays.
Offensive line doing their job in the running game. That time they go behind Yosenis, and Savoy picks up enough for the first down. The hard count comes from Heat, but it looked like Red Mountain moved first.
And just as we're talking about momentum, an offsides penalty, and now you're at 1st and 15, which is something you can't do when you're trying to run the football.
Red Mountain will have to play behind the sticks now on 1st and 15 from the 25. Heap takes a deep shot downfield. Wagner looks back for it. Contact, and the flag comes. Officials doing a great job calling it both ways, because that's the exact same shot you saw on the other side of the field where Castaneda got in early, and the flag called on him.
And again, I think the deciding factor is that the defender's just not getting his head around. Yeah. If you go to the replay real quick here, you'll see the ball come out, and that defender just never gets his head turned around and just runs through the receiver. Easy call there for the official.
It's almost like an underthrow in that scenario is more successful of a play if you're not going to get the completion.
Yep.
This time Wagner with his first carry of the game, flagged down around the 40. And that looks to be where the blocking was set up for the Red Mountain play.
Yeah, it was a little trickeration there, a little end around off the sweep action, but I think they got a hold. And again, Red Mountain's looking at 1st and 20.
They just happen to be fighting with themselves offensively. You see Savoy pick up a couple big plays, back up 5 with the false start, and then you take a shot, draw a penalty, get a 1st and 10 from the 40, and then the holding call backs them up 10 back to the 30. Heap gives the hard count again, and they've been playing with that a lot tonight.
Yeah. You have to keep that defense honest. If you just let them tee off on your snap count every time, very difficult to be successful.
Savoy with a big hole, and he gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
The line is pushing, reestablishing the line of scrimmage there and getting off the ball. So I think that's a positive, and you think you got to keep building on that. But I don't know if you can just run Savoy all night. You're going to have to do something else and change it up.
So far, Hamilton haven't stopped him. He's continued to get the rock, and Wagner comes in motion. Heap fakes it to Savoy and has to evade the blitz, throw it over the middle, and Wagner with the yards after the catch and a burst of speed. Wagner with the block out in front of him all the way to the end zone. Wow. A 60-yard touchdown reception, Bodie Wagner.
B-Dubs coming through with a big yak play. Man, do they need that.
Right back in the game, a 2-score deficit now for Red Mountain. But an electric run after the catch for Bodie Wagner. You talk about his counterparts on the other side of the field, and Legend Bernard and Dylan Lord, what they've been doing after the catch. Wagner gets it over the middle of the field, and he never looked back.
No, and Zach, this game just got interesting. And I believe that was Bodie's first catch tonight.
I think he had one in the first quarter.
I know he's been targeted a bunch and just hadn't, either he's gotten a penalty or it's been just out of his reach. Big play at a big moment as well.
I know you can't rewind and turn back time, but you mentioned we have a game on our hands now, the 2-score deficit. Imagine what it would be if the interception stood at the end of the first half, or if they even just stop Hamilton from getting in for 6. Then it's just a touchdown game.
The old what if.
And back-to-back penalties on Hamilton on the extra point attempt.
Well, while they're sorting that out, we can go back to replay here and see the touchdown. So they come out with the play action here off of the fake to Savoy. He pulls up, finds Bodie, and he just puts his foot in the ground and accelerates. And nobody's catching him there. Great run and catch.
You have to give a lot of credit to Kyle Heap on that play as well, because Jackson Patton was unevaded in the backfield. Heap put a little stutter step on him and was able to look upfield and find Wagner still.
Yeah, it's a great job of setting his feet and getting the throw off. Definitely not the ideal throwing position, but he's able to deliver it, and Wagner makes the big play. And after much ado, we finally have an extra point.
After 2 penalties, and they ran a hard count on the extra point. Castaneda gave him the old 5-finger down and got Hamilton to jump. But Kai Evans 2 for 2 on the night with the extra point.
And now the Red Mountain defense needs to return to form here. And I think you can kind of just watching the guys on the sideline, there is, if you're reading body language, some renewed confidence, some vigor, and hopefully it's going to translate into plays being made on the field.
And this is now where you talk about both of these teams being battle-tested. Hamilton always looking to respond after getting an opening drive touchdown in the second half put up against them. When you look at the schedules from both these teams, you talk about the close games that Red Mountain have had earlier in the season against Highland, a 10-point game, a 3-point game against ALA Queen Creek. Hamilton has had it just as bad. They lost in overtime 45-44 up against Basha, one of the top teams in 6A, just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I think you've noticed that in both these teams. There's no panic. They just continue to play. They continue to keep working.
This kick returnable from the foot of Evans. And good protection and a nice tackle. And that time around, it's Chayton Jennings with the stop.
So now I would imagine Hamilton want to do some ball control and run the football of their own, put the ball in the hands of their playmaker, Mr. Blunt, and let him go to work.
I look forward to seeing the battle between these two units as we come out of the break after the kickoff, because head coach of Hamilton, Michael Zadebski, he's been here before. He's been in these games. Everyone puts a target on Hamilton's back, so we'll see how they respond on this drive. Both backs on the field for Hamilton, Blunt as a receiver and Knight in the backfield. Pass goes tonight, and he's been getting a lot of receiving work early on. Krieger makes a tackle, and a flag comes in late.
And Oh, I thought that was going against Red Mountain the way Kyle Enders is acting right now. He must be upset about something.
Yeah, it has to be an assignment or something like that on the near sideline, pretty animated. So the officials go to ask him what he wants to do with the penalty, and he says accept and back it up. So the Red Mountain defense now starting with positive yardage of their own on this drive, as 1st and 20 upcoming for Hamilton. Jack Lewis in motion. Lucero sprints out that way and gives tonight, and he is met up front early. Lucas Wilson at the nose tackle position. He's been really good in this 3-man front in the run game for Red Mountain.
Yeah, he has been very effective thus far. And that's really a position, if you're moving and stunting, you're just trying to get in the way. Knock off a puller, take away an angle, maybe suck up a double team so your linebacker gets a free run. Doing a solid job.
2nd and 22 after a loss on 1st and 20 for Hamilton. Lucero trying to set up a screen, and he gets it tonight. Knight able to slip a tackle for a second.
I'm impressed he was able to catch that because Red Mountain had that diagnosed all the way, and he had 2 defenders sandwiching him, and he was still able to come up with the football.
That makes things a little bit more manageable on 3rd down for Hamilton.
Big play here. Got to get this team off the field and get your offense back on.
Lucero has time in the pocket. Barron comes up to hit him, and the throw is short. I'll tell you what, ever since Isaac Haney has stepped in this game for Chris Castaneda in the defensive back position, he's been making big stops.
He has. He has not been fooled. And when you're putting a defense together and a team together, certain guys have different strengths. Some guys are much better playing zone and they understand where to put themselves in the zone. And some guys are better just lock me up one-on-one with a guy and I'll just tell you what kind of gum he's chewing by the end of the night.
It doesn't look like it's anything injury related to Castaneda because he's in to return the punt. End over end, Castaneda up to get it, and he loses it. Ball on the ground, and it looks like Hamilton has come up with it, but Castaneda able to snag it on the pile.
My goodness.
Always a scary moment there on the return. The end-over-end kick was a line drive, and he came up to meet the ball, and he was just a little bit short with his hands.
A lucky break there for the Mountain Lions to come up with that one. And now another chance for the offense to get back to work. And with a touchdown, make it a one-score game.
That's the second time there's been a live ball on a punt return for Red Mountain tonight.
Yeah.
Crisis averted for the time being. 7:47 left in the 3rd. And this now the second offensive possession for Red Mountain of the half. Wagner with a wide receiver pass. He looks to take a shot. Contact in the secondary, but nothing called. So Wagner threw it to Kyle Heap on the far side. As a different Wildcat look, and Red Mountain pulling out all the stops.
Again, the defender turned around and got his head around, and I think at that point they're both just going for the football. So I think a good no call there. But I like the creativity, finding ways to take shots downfield that are unconventional.
Savoy out of the Wildcat. Not a lot of room this time around, and halftime adjustments seem to be working for Hamilton up front in that formation.
And that's the downside of the first down shot play is now you're behind the sticks and you get stuffed on second down here. Now it's 3rd and 9, and I don't know if they're in a position where you'd go 2 down here. Maybe.
Right at midfield, it depends how much faith you have in the defense. They just made a stop on the opening possession of the second half for Hamilton. So if you don't pick it up here, you may put faith in them. Low snap, but Heap able to handle. Heap finds a little bit of a running lane, and now that's going to make it 4th and 2, and things may be a little bit more interesting to go for it here.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, it's 4th and a very long 2. I'd say probably closer to 4th and, well, no, I guess it's 4th and 2. Big play here.
A good scramble from Heap that time around to pick up positive yardage with no one open downfield.
So they go trips into the boundary here, which is going to put that defense in a bind. Now they're overcommitted. If you look, you see what they were doing there. Because they're playing man, they have to commit almost their entire secondary over to the short side of the field, leaving the wide side wide open. And I think they want to make an adjustment there.
Yeah, it looks like Hamilton identifies that, and they take their first time out of the half to be able to get the personnel right and everyone in a spot to execute.
Great job by Red Mountain using the formation to dictate a matchup. If you know they're going to bring their corner over, you know, that leaves them susceptible to attack on the wide side of the field. So we'll see what they come out with in this next snap here. It'll be interesting.
Do you change anything now that you get a look defensively based on what they adjust out of the timeout, or do you go with the same play you had drawn up initially?
You know, if you love the play, I mean, you normally on a 4th down, got to have it play. You're calling your best play that you've run before, that you're comfortable with, that the kids believe in. And no, you run your play. For 2 yards, you run your play.
You get the personnel look with both Skidmore and Griffin back out on the field for Red Mountain.
So a slightly different look this time.
Savoy with the carry, tries to push forward, and he stops short.
Yeah, that's tough.
So Savoy needed a couple, and he only got a yard. Good stand by the front of Hamilton defensively as the run game had been gouging them up to this point, and they get a big stop when they need it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the film to upload here. Yeah, so you go to the replay real quick here. Again, they go at the stretch, just not able to get any movement. Great job by number 8 there, the defensive end, forcing it and swapping hats back inside. They're not able to find a seam to get him loose.
That's Najee Sherrod with the stop and a passing play to open things up on 1st down and a connection with Legend Bernard.
And it looked like the corner there had a chance to make a play on that ball. He just misjudged where he was going to be setting up. And I think that's what's going to take at this point in the game. The defense is going to have to make a play and force a turnover here. A fumble or an interception.
Hamilton start the drive with great field position from the failed 4th down conversion, and Braylon Blunt with a big chunk play to get out across the 30.
Yeah, he's a good football player.
The senior running back, he's had 4 games over 100 yards on the season. Tonight, setting up to be number 5 as Blunt gets back-to-back handoffs and continues to move forward, a pickup of about 5.
And now, you know, Hamilton's going to lean on their big offensive line and their running game and just try to ram it down the Mountain Lions' throat.
Lucero keeps this time, and he had the edge tricked for a second, but good pursuit on the play as Griffin comes back in to make the tackle.
Another 1st down. And every tick of the clock now is working against the Mountain Lions as well.
Down to 4:50 in the 3rd quarter as Lucero throws a quick pass over to Lord, and Lord looking for yards after catch. And meets Jamison Wade on the sideline, and a late flag comes in on the tackle. Looks like Hamilton's starting to back up a little bit, so it may be on them.
Awful handsy there. One of the receivers had the Red Mountain player spun around and turned around, and a handful of jersey as well. So it looks like the holding's going to push him back. So a reprieve here.
And Marquis Stevens checks into the game to give a little bit of relief to Lucas Wilson as he'll set up in the middle of the line now. Lucero goes play action, wide open over the top, and just brought down out of bounds short of the end zone, but a goal line look now for Hamilton.
Yeah, that's the play that they hit earlier, I think right in that same spot, I think, in the first quarter.
Yeah, the second reception for Sabrim Torres of the evening, and a big one to move the chains and get down to the 1. Lucero looks to pass, fade route. He went back to Torres and just out of the stretch of his arms.
Yeah, and that's a great throw on a deep out, going back to that previous play. Great throw on the deep out to get them in scoring range here. And now it's kind of do or die here for the Mountain Lions. Down 2 scores.
Lucero snaps it with 15 on the clock, keeps it himself, and he loses the football in the end zone. Lucero was trying to reach forward, and he coughed it up.
So this is good. So
and it's a touchback. So with their backs against the wall, Red Mountain with a huge break as Rich Lucero tried to stretch it across the plane to get into the end zone. And the fumble recovered by Red Mountain in the end zone. What a break.
Another opportunity given to this offense now.
Kyle Enders fired up on the sideline after his defense gets that stop.
Yeah, that was a very lucky break. Let's see how they come out and capitalize on it now. Sudden change.
And it makes everything more manageable where you can use the clock as your friend here. You still have 4:16 in the third. If you take all of it on this drive, but end up with a touchdown, you get the remainder of the fourth.
Oh yeah, you're not in hurry up. You're not in desperation mode yet. You just need a good methodical scoring drive here. Get it to 1 score, and then anything can happen in the fourth quarter.
The out route goes to Smith and positive yardage and a gain of 5 on first down. Smith's snap percentage has gone up week after week as he's become more prominent for this wide receiving group for Red Mountain.
So an empty look here.
Heap sprints out that way and decides to keep it. A lot of room for Kyle Heap.
And another thing to add to Savoy's resume, he had a fantastic block on the edge and sealed the outside linebacker there to spring Heap for the run. Great job by Savoy throwing that block.
Did you see how strong Jalen Jones is on that play? There was a block set up between him and Smith on the near side of the field, and Heap probably could have gone for another 15, but Jones bodied Smith, put him to the ground, and made the tackle.
He's a good football player.
Savoy with the carry this time, sheds an arm tackle, and 2 flags fly by the line of scrimmage. So a big play from Savoy probably going to be negated by a lot of laundry on the field.
When you get multiple, that means they saw something.
And it almost looked like they were trying to blow the play dead, too, while the run was occurring. Usually when there's a hold, they let it go, but
let's see what we can see here.
tough break again to just get pushed back behind the chains. Just a loss of 5 on the penalty. So that wouldn't be a hold. It may have been something set up on the line with somebody lined up incorrectly, illegal formation or a false start, and that's why they were trying to blow it dead the whole time.
So not enough men on the line of scrimmage, most likely.
Heap evades pressure, and another flag comes in. That one screams hold with your quarterback running the opposite direction.
And I think it might be Savoy on that one. And again, you know, hand placement becomes a big issue, especially out on the edge because it's visible to the side judge and the back judge. If your hand is not in the chest area, if it's up around the shoulder pads, if it's in the back, even if it slides there, they're going to call that every time. Oh, it's against Hamilton.
Yeah, so the defense backing up, and Red Mountain end up getting things back.
Well.
With how much they're moving, that's 15. It could be a personal foul on the play with hands to the face or a face mask on the defense up front.
Most likely. I know I saw Savoy and the Hamilton player go to the ground. That must have been it right there.
So back and forth, a lot of movement on this drive, but not from offensive production, but the penalties push you behind the line, back to it, regardless. A 1st and 10 upcoming for Red Mountain. Heap looking to pass, scrambles away again, spins out of a tackle and gets across midfield.
It's a nice little run there. And if you notice now, Hamilton has gotten out of the press man. You know, both safeties down. They're playing a more too deep coverage with the safeties at about 10 to 12 yards.
Heap's helmet came off at the end of that play, so he has to run over to the sideline. And that pretty much sets up the Wildcat look here on 2nd down.
So.
With how much Heap has been scrambling and keeping his eyes upfield and then deciding to tuck it and run, you wonder if one of those situations presents itself. He can, instead of firing a pump fake and tucking it, let the ball fly if he has something deep.
Sure. And now you see Bodie Wagner back here. And Red Mountain wants to talk about it.
So with the timeout now taken by Red Mountain, since it would still be the ensuing play, does Heap have to stay out with the helmet coming off even after the timeout?
I think the timeout buys you the chance for him to come back into the football game.
Okay, so something to keep an eye on there with 2nd down and 4 upcoming. But we've had a live second half here early on. An opening drive, touchdown from Red Mountain, and then defensively they make a stand and force a turnover with a fumble as Lucero tries to reach into the goal line. And that's where they're set up right now at the Hamilton 49.
Now, it looks like he's not going back in on this next play, so I wonder if they said no. Or if they just want to stay with the play they had called.
A lot of different looks out of the Wildcat offensively. You saw Wagner throw a pass to Heap earlier, but a majority of the time it's been Savoy taking the snap out of the backfield. So each team up to this point has taken a timeout here in the second half, so they have 2 remaining on both sides.
Yep, 2nd and 5 at midfield here. Coming out of a timeout, we'll see what they have dialed up. They have more of a fullback look here, number 49, who is
it's Adrian Hernandez. Wagner keeps it and goes up the middle, and Wagner has been efficient after contact and has enough to pick up the 1st down.
Yeah, it's impressive to see what he's doing tonight because he's able to, you know, obviously we know he can play receiver and run and catch the ball and get open on routes, but to see him operate the offense as a quarterback and make some throws downfield, a ball fake, and then to put your foot in the ground and run in between the tackles is a very different thing than running a fade ball down the sideline. So I'm impressed with the athleticism from Wagner tonight.
He's a really integral part of this offense and showing why tonight. Savoy this time out of the backfield, lowers the shoulder and plunges forward.
And you know, I don't mind that play. That's what you call a tone setter. You know, a tough, a dirty 3 as they call it. Just put your shoulders down and run behind your pads. Those have a cumulative effect over the course of the game.
Red Mountain don't have to run a play here if they elect not to. There's about a 3-second differential between the game clock and the play clock.
I imagine they will.
Heap takes the snap and pressure coming. Heap looks to take a shot down the far sideline. What a snag by Gunnar Moore.
And
he's called out of bounds. He couldn't get the feet in. And that's one of those catches where it's just a great play, but you can't get the feet down.
Yeah, it's tough. But I like the shot again. I like the aggressiveness. Now obviously you're in 2-down territory here, I would imagine. 13 seconds. You're going to run a play, let it time go out for the quarter, and see where we're at.
Jalen Jones on the near side of the field. So keep tabs on him defensively. Heap steps up in the pocket, evades pressure, and rolls forward for the first down and more.
Some nifty footwork there from Kyle Heap.
Kyle Heap has been scooting and booting all night long. When pressure comes, he's out of there.
Yes, and he's done a good job of getting downfield and finding blocks. And that's a big-time play there, and it's first down. And this fourth quarter could be very interesting here if the Mountain Lions are able to punch this in.
That there, the final play of the third, the legs of Kyle Heap enough to pick up the first down. Red Mountain trail by 14, but driving, and we'll step away on RMTV. Crunch time for both teams as we begin the fourth quarter, and Red Mountain driving down by 2 scores. And they've killed all 440 of the third quarter already, so this drive continues to be a lengthy one. Wagner in to take a snap, and a flag goes deep in the secondary.
Delay game.
That's a tough one to take coming out of the timeout and transition between the quarters.
Always dicey when it's coming out of a change of quarter, because you don't know when they start the time. They blow it in. They could blow it in, and you're not even out of the into the huddle yet.
They stick with the same look. Wagner cuts back up the middle and stretches forward. Only picks up a couple, so Red Mountain still behind the sticks, second down and long.
And those penalties just kill you, because you feel like you have to get back just to get back to the line of scrimmage. The initial line of scrimmage is a win, but you're down a play.
Heap with a quick release, and Preston might have dug that off the ground. No, they call it down. That was close.
It was close.
It's really tough to see our vantage point on the far side of the field, but it almost looked like he got the gloves underneath it.
Unfortunately, there's no challenge flags.
Yeah, you can't undo a call there. We don't have the long lens camera, high definition, 70 camera broadcast like the NFL does to be able to see every blade of grass.
Now, if you go to the replay very quickly, I freeze framed it. Very hard to call, but it looks like he may have gotten that right hand under the football.
Look at you. We got to get you off the headset and into the production truck. Wow. Stellar work right there. So 3rd down and 13 after the called incompletion, and the officials wait to restart things. And now they give the green light.
My goodness.
A whistle prior to the snap, and this time offsides. So you get some of it back with the penalty on Hamilton, and it becomes a little bit more manageable now.
Yeah, every little bit helps. So now a 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 8.
So teams trade penalties back and forth, and Heap out of the gun with Savoy to his left.
Good
Heap
protection.
looks to throw and take a shot on the wheel route, almost intercepted. Good defense by Preston Heap offensively that time, as Nico Jandrew had an opportunity at an interception.
And I think that was just a tough spot to put the football. You know, with the way he was running an out-breaking route, you put it, you know, towards the sideline where only Heap could come down with it. It'd be better than throwing it up high where it becomes a jump ball situation and either one can come down with it. And now it's 4th down here, so critical moment now.
Hamilton show pressure and bring it. Heap tries to escape and is brought down, loses the football. And Hamilton make a big play when they need it. Savoy recovered the fumble, but Dallas Baxter was in on the pressure, and Heap never had a chance.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those situations because they were trying to go fast, and Hamilton got their defensive call in late. He was running up to the line of scrimmage right before the ball was snapped, and I don't even think the tackle realized that he was there and that he had to block him, and he was already past him.
Heap had been able to avoid pressure up to this point, but not that time. Lucero with a quick pass incomplete. He was looking for Avery Knight out of the backfield.
And all is not lost yet. There's still a lot of time left here. You know, obviously, you can't let the Huskies put together an 8-minute, you know, extended drive here. You need to get them off the field and get your offense back on. But a stop here would still give them a fighting chance.
2nd and 10 following the incompletion, and Lucero throws the slant, and what a catch.
I don't know how he did that.
There's a flag on the play, too, probably for the defense there. Avery Knight able to pull it in, and he had Isaac Haney draped all over him.
And it looked like Rock Miller was right in his line of sight, jumping in the air. I don't know how he completed that pass.
A good play nonetheless. And it makes it 1st and 10 with the ball at the 45 for Hamilton. Bernard checks back into the game. Avery Knight heads to the far side of the field but stays in. Deep
Nice
in
play.
the backfield, and a huge stop and a statement tackle by Rock Miller. It's about the first time tonight where we haven't seen Braylon Blunt escape the first contact.
I mean, I don't know what got first. I don't know if he got the ball or Rock Miller was in his lap first. That was a pretty impressive play right there.
Makes it 2nd down and 13 and an empty set for Lucero. Lucero all the time in the world directing traffic and finds Sabrim Torres. Torres after the catch with a lot of room to work with. And that's been Hamilton's bread and butter tonight. Lucero has a lot of time when he escapes, and it gives the receivers an opportunity to ad-lib, and they've done so well.
And it's a lot to ask for a defensive player to cover a guy for 6 or 7 or 8 seconds. You know, there's not many guys that can do that, especially when it's a linebacker. You know, not many guys can cover for that long.
So positive movement this drive for Hamilton as they're down to the 30 of Red Mountain. Lucero takes a shot at the end zone over the top and puts it right in the lap of Sabrim Torres. What a pitch and catch, 30-yard touchdown reception for Hamilton.
That was a great ball placement right into the breadbasket, as you said. Now the Mountain Lions face a much more uphill battle.
That's a great response from Hamilton. After given a turnover on the 1 yard line. All it took was a few plays to get back into the end zone. Extra point stays true, and a 35-14 lead for Hamilton. 9.5 to go in the fourth quarter, and we'll step away. Hamilton hold a 35-14 lead over Red Mountain with 9:30 left in the fourth quarter. And that's kind of been the story of this series. It's been 10 straight losses for Red Mountain in this matchup. And Hamilton on top yet again tonight. Gunnar Moore lets that one fly through, and Red Mountain will start the drive. Looking to respond quickly, as you talked about prior to the timeout. Just the clock not your friend at this point.
No, and now you really do have to go up tempo and no huddle and just try to get something going. And sometimes, you know, that's what your quarterback needs, just to get in rhythm and less time to think about things and just let it fly. Good things can happen. So let's see.
They stick with the run on first down. Savoy cuts it back, and another flag comes in.
Yeah, and I think the story of the night would be, you know, untimely penalties for the Mountain Lions, really setting them back again and again.
It's been a lot of first down penalties, too, which just sets you up deeper and deeper in your own territory. A loss of 10 this time from the holding call.
Now you're backed up in your own, almost to your own end zone.
Heap looks confused in the gun, almost as if he didn't get the play from the sideline, but ready to take the snap now. Quick swing to Savoy, unable to make the catch. And the officials call it incomplete, so a forward pass and no damage on a fumble. Second down and 20 as Red Mountain look for some positive yardage to have the opportunity to move the chains here as we approach late timing in the fourth. Heap a lot of time in a good pocket here, throws back across his body and finds Preston Heap as he picks up 12.
All right, now you have a more manageable third down. Tempo.
Heap gets the call from the sideline and shifts Savoy over to his left side. Hamilton show pressure again. They back one off in coverage. Heap, deep shot. Gunnar Moore! Wide open and all the way to the casa. 78-yard touchdown reception for Gunnar Moore.
And most importantly, there's no flags on the field. Big play there.
Red Mountain have been able to take the top off Hamilton twice now tonight. A 60-yard touchdown reception to Bodie Wagner earlier, which was more yards after the catch. That time, it was just a straight shot to Gunnar Moore for 78 yards.
And again, Hamilton was in a tight coverage look. No real deep safety. You know the saying, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. if you're going to play that kind of press man coverage, if somebody gets behind you, there's no safety net.
Well, you weren't wrong by saying that Red Mountain needed to go up tempo, but you don't really need to go up tempo when you can score on only a couple of plays on a drive.
True, true. The question is now, do you try an onside kick here? Is it too early for that? Or do you try to, build on that momentum? You just had a big play, maybe catch them reeling. I feel like if Josh Barge has one of those crafty plays in his pocket, this is the point we'll see it.
Yeah, and Kyle Enders talking to his group of special teams, maybe thinking about a situation, but that time around just a 3-play drive for Red Mountain to score the touchdown, and Hamilton break out of their special teams meeting as the officials work to get the ball back upfield as Kai Evans awaits.
So I think Hamilton's sensing that that's something that could be coming. A lot more guys committed to the front line than you normally would see.
Always the biggest thing for me here, if you're going to try it, get it 10. Make sure you get the kick 10 so you give your guys a chance.
Well, if you look at the field, if you could drop it into the center there and in a foot race, maybe you got a chance. I think that's what, they're trying to line drive it.
Good tackle that time by Chayton Jennings. The direct kick was that line drive straight at Hadson Taylor. I wonder if Red Mountain called that special teams play Waterboy. That scene where you just try to identify whoever looks the most scared to catch the ball and put it right at him.
Absolutely. But he snagged it and was able to get a return. Not much, but.
Now you turn to your defense in a big spot, because going for something like that obviously puts Hamilton in a positive place as far as field position is considered, and they begin the drive from the 38.
And they were short a man, and Gloria had to run in late.
Gloria brings pressure off the edge, and a big burst right up the middle for Blunt. Castaneda with a touchdown-saving tackle there, and Blunt with a huge pickup as he gets all the way down to Red Mountain's 41.
Yeah, and you get the sense that we're close to do or die time at this point.
Dave Garcia takes an official timeout this time around, so nothing against either team, and they both still have a couple in their pocket. 4 minutes gone in the fourth quarter, 35-21 the lead for Hamilton with the ball on Red Mountain's 41. Lucero gives up the middle, and Knight this time around strides forward, and Champ Jennings in on the tackle. You see now on that play, it could be the start of it. Lucero waited until there was 2 seconds left on the play clock to take the snap.
Yeah, so they're trying to use, as wisely as they should. The clock is your friend with a 2-touchdown lead. They shouldn't be in any hurry to get the ball snapped.
Taking their time to get the signal from the sideline, and it's the same look. Lucero still looks over, and he gets everything set up with 10 seconds left on the play clock. That time up the middle, and Blunt has it. A lot of room to work with. Blunt escapes a couple of tackles, and Blunt into the end zone. A 35-yard touchdown, and what a response from Hamilton as Braylon Blunt gets into the end zone for the second time tonight.
I was talking with the Red Mountain coaches before the game, and there were a couple coaches that said he might be the best back they've seen in the last 7 or 8 years in Arizona high school football. After watching some of his runs tonight, I might be inclined to agree.
It's really hard to argue. And that extends the lead to 42-21 now for Hamilton. And Braylon Blunt, he's been incredible. Like I mentioned earlier, he goes over 100 quite often on the ground, does it again here tonight, so that makes the 5th game of the season. And when you look at some of his stat lines earlier on in the year, it's like you blink twice and look back to make sure you're reading it correctly. Just a game ago against Castile, he went for 200 on the ground and a touchdown on the ground and through the air in that one.
Yeah, he's a special football player. Definitely going to play at the next level. You know, it depends on the school he goes to, though, as far as he is somewhat undersized for a college back.
Yep.
But, you know, they said the same thing about, you know, Darren Sproles and some of those other smaller guys.
The biggest one that comes to mind currently who's making an impact is Austin Eckler.
Yeah, he's another one. Because he certainly runs with a level of physicality that is way bigger than his stature.
Yep, absolutely. And Blunt emulates that for sure when he has the ball in his hands. Moore jumps up to get it and takes it this time. Gunnar Moore after the big touchdown reception with a nice return as he scurries out across the 30. Still fight in this Red Mountain team.
And I think that's a big point to make, is that they haven't packed it in. You know, when you're down a few scores, you could start to feel sorry for yourself, and a team that's not disciplined and not strong mentally might just do that. We haven't seen any of that tonight. They continue to fight to the very end, and you know that's going to pay off down the road. So they, you know, one more regular season game left against those people down the road, and then playoffs.
And playoffs in the cards 100% for Red Mountain. When I talked to Cody Cameron about things, they could lose out. I know you don't want to, but they could lose out, still make the playoffs. And I think the scenario right now is if you split these last two. So if they were to win at home against Mountain View next week, then they get a home game in 6A.
That would appear to be likely. No guarantees. Believe me, when I was coaching, I would try to play out all the scenarios and break down all the numbers. There is not a person on this planet, I don't think, that can decipher the formula.
It's really hard to identify. Heap escapes, throws it out, and just tucks it away. Not a lot of time to work with as he was facing pressure the whole way around. But it's just crazy when you look at all the teams faced. It'll be now 4 open bracket opponents that Red Mountain have taken on, and they fall into both of them, or all 4 rather. You talk about Helix in California, they make it to the highest level there, and then Highland, ALA, and Hamilton all set to be open bracket teams.
Yeah, it's a tough 3-game stretch. There's no doubt about it. A 4-game stretch with Queen Creek wedged in there, but I think, like you said, you get battle tested, and you know people come back healthy, and you know the playoffs really is a different season, and anything can happen. And we've seen teams that are lower seeds go on runs, so you know it's all about matchups and getting guys healthy at the right time and playing your best football going into the end of the year.
As for Hamilton, just kind of a fun story for their schedule the remainder of the season. You get that big rivalry game next week when they go on the road to Chandler. And they're 6-2 on the season, and it's been kind of the same story for them. They took on Liberty week 1 and lost 56-20. Then they rattled off a bunch of wins straight, lost that overtime thriller against Basha 45-44, and just a big end to the season, and one that will certainly be keeping an eye on just from the love of high school football against Chandler.
Yeah, and that's really a more important game for this area, because obviously they're all fighting for the same kids. And Chandler's been the top dog for a while now, so a win would really flip the script on what's been happening. So the last few years in this district.
Heap takes another deep shot, and he has Wagner again, and Wagner looking to get another deep touchdown, and he does just that. 66 yards this time around for B-Dubs.
At what point will Hamilton actually put 2 safeties deep? I don't know what to tell you.
I keep wanting to think that the game is just out of reach when you're thinking of the combination between clock and score deficit, and then it's just big plays. Wagner has a 60-yard touchdown reception, 66-yard touchdown reception, and Gunnar Moore with a 78-yard touchdown reception.
It's crazy.
I mean, Kyle Heap's shoulder looks all right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Flags after the play as we get a scuffle here. I saw it at the end. Jalen Jones took an extra shot. He was on the receiving end of it from a Red Mountain player. And now 5 flags fly late.
And this is the kind of shenanigans that ends up costing you down the road, because both these teams have rivalry games next week. You can't afford to have a starter out because he threw a punch or did something stupid and gets tossed from this game.
And the officials converging to sort everything out as they emptied the magazines there. I don't think if a referee on the field tried to reach back into the pocket, he wouldn't find anything.
Unfortunately, the film cuts off before the really interesting stuff happens.
Yeah, it looks like on the replay there, they're just starting to get into the scuffle, and then it ends. So while the officials sort things out, we just continue to see it. And like you talked about, I mean, stuff like that happening is pretty much inevitable for us to see next week in the rivalry games. I know you always want to keep a level head, but you talk about all these kids growing up down the road from each other, playing ball since they're in, junior high, youth football, up into high school, fighting over where they're going to go and play high school football. And sometimes, it's friendly rivalry. Other time tensions run high.
Yeah. I'm watching the official signal in these penalties, and it looks like he's doing the Macarena. Oh, there's more.
Scott Hansen getting his workout in for the evening. A bar 3 class maybe. A little dance, Zumba.
From what I could tell, normally when this kind of thing happens, they offset it, and that's that. But I think there was one more on the Red Mountain side, because he never signaled back the other way and did the offsetting two arms out. And he's talking to the Hamilton coach about what he wants to do with the penalty. So I don't know if they've ejected anyone. It doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, the signal hasn't come through yet for an ejection, but officials are on the far side of the field chatting things over with the Hamilton coaching staff. And now Kyle Enders will probably be able to hear a few things as well, just to assess what's going on down on the field.
So now he gets the clarification.
A fist bump at the end of it between Enders and the officials, so that's kind of fun to see.
See, I think basically said, we're not going to toss anybody. He said, all right, cool.
Yep.
Because when you look ahead to both of these teams facing must-win games in their own backyard, the Huskies are going to travel up Arizona Ave, and the Mountain Lions will be waiting for the Toros to travel down Brown Road.
Evans goes for the onside kick. It hops up on him a couple times, gets deep, and Dylan Lord able to receive it and go out of bounds, and a flag comes in late.
Oh, that might just be the out of bounds.
Yeah, I couldn't tell from this vantage point if Lord was able to catch it inbounds and then go out, or
I couldn't see
just
either.
the kick going out of bounds there would be explained.
And now you would definitely think the coaching staffs talked to their players and said, walk away from any nonsense. We've got more football left to play.
Just get out of this one scot-free.
Yeah.
Hamilton continue to impress, and just the tradition and everything that they have here in football. They've made it to 13 state championship games, the final game through their history since 1998. On top of that, since the open bracket started in 2019, they've been in one championship final, and they lost that one. But a team who's just always there,
Yeah.
and will continue to be this season. The starters remain on the field for both sides with 5:50 to go. Hamilton keeps everyone out in the offensive package, and Red Mountain does the same defensively. Handoff goes to Blunt, and he moves forward. It's been positive yardage almost all night for Blunt, except for the one time Rock Miller got back there and stopped him for a loss of 3.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the only way you can get these backs is if you get them before they get started. You know, wrap up and run your feet, and if once he gets going, he's just really, really difficult to bring down.
Hamilton looked to continue to work the clock and just avoid giving Red Mountain any more offensive possessions.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to either. It was bombs away over here.
Yep. Deep shot after deep shot. Avery Knight fights forward and has enough to move the chains. Still 5 minutes to kill, though, for Hamilton, and with the ball inside the 30. Depends how many plays you get off and when the first downs are picked up if you keep it going for the entirety of the game.
This has just been a strange game as far as maybe because this is such a big complex and we're so far away from the field, but I don't feel like any kind of electricity in the air. It just feels kind of flat, you know?
A lot of people beating traffic early almost.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
That seems to be the play. Right here, another give to Blunt up the middle. Clock continues to tick, and positive yardage remains being gained as Hamilton move it forward. Another big night for Braylon Blunt, over 100 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns for him.
And again, 2 scores is not insurmountable at this point.
Right.
But something is going to have to happen. You're going to have to either get a turnover or you're going to have to, score quick and actually get an onside kick to really make this interesting. So we'll see.
Knight gets it on the way back, and Knight spits out. Knight will be inside the 10, and another big pickup for Hamilton.
Knight says good night.
Yeah, 2 scores, like you said, not insurmountable, but Hamilton looking to make it 3 on this drive.
It's really impressive to see a team with 2 backs. I think Knight would probably start on just about any other team in the state.
Absolutely, and he still gets his fair share of carries. Coming into this game, he was just about 40 shy of what Braylon Blunt receives.
Yeah.
And throughout their games, watching film, there's a lot of times where they'll get 2 back sets in there. One of them will be in as a wide receiver, and the other one gets in the backfield. So even when one of them isn't getting the carries, they're on the field. Blunt has it, looking for his 3rd touchdown of the evening, and Mauder puts a pop on him and stops him just short of the end zone. Marquis Stevens back into the game for Red Mountain. As Hamilton continue to milk the clock, as they've killed 2.5 minutes on this drive up to this point. Lucero up the middle tonight, and he is free into the end zone. So 2 touchdowns for each of these backs. You talk about the dynamic duo, well, deuces are wild. 2 great running backs, 2 touchdowns apiece.
And an offensive explosion here in the fourth quarter. Not what we expected. But the Mountain Lions is unable to close that gap as the Hamilton offense continues to answer.
Defensively, it gets tough when you're on the field as much as you were in the first half and you give up the scores. And every time that Red Mountain has answered, Hamilton has come back and been successful as they lead 49-28.
But again, you know, as you kind of take the long view here, some definite things to build on, some really good things. I mean, the deep balls is encouraging, and it's certainly going to give the Toros something to think about when they start breaking down film. So a lot of good things happening here. This is Hamilton's a really good football team.
They certainly are, and they're proving it tonight. And in all aspects of the game, even when they make a mistake, they've been able to recover from it. And it just shows a well-coached team when you have something like that occur every drive.
And, you know, I would say, you know, I thought Highland was a very well-coached team, and that defense was special. But their offense is nowhere near as talented as this Hamilton team. This is the most talented offense we've seen in person this year.
It's just dynamic, right?
Yeah.
You know, that big plays can be had, but also situationally when they need something, short yardage or 3rd and 5, they have something to go to and they draw it up, and they have so many weapons. I mean, it's really the 4 true weapons of Blunt, Knight, Bernard, and Lord, and then you have that 5th ancillary piece in Sabrim Torres, who had the big 30-yard touchdown reception in this game.
And then add in the fact that it's a backup quarterback slinging it around like he's been there the whole time and making runs with his feet. This is definitely an open caliber football team. And I'd be interested to see how it plays out with Chandler next week.
Yeah, that's always a fun one to watch. All these top teams with them, Liberty, Basha, just a lot of talent on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
A little trick play there. Savoy able to scoop it off the deck and make something out of nothing for Savoy. Savoy. That's just how they drew it up.
Oh, my gosh. You know, they've run that almost in every game we've seen thus far, and it seems to be seamless every time. And that one, you know, when you're blind handing it off behind somebody's back, bad things can happen.
You see it there, but Savoy able to turn it into a first down. Timeout here taken by Hamilton with 1:47 left in the fourth.
That's interesting.
Coach the game all the way through, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't like the personnel, don't like the look. You don't want to give up another 60-plus yard touchdown. And that's something, like you mentioned, taking positives away from the game for Red Mountain. We haven't really seen the passing game like this conceptually or execution-wise for the entirety of the season. A lot of it has been pitch and catch and those yards after the catch plays that we saw Wagner have with his first 60-yard touchdown. But, I mean, the deep ball with air yards of Kyle Heap throwing the ball 30, 40 yards in the air and getting more Wagner to be able to run underneath it. Those are some designs where they've identified the open look defensively and taken the shot and executed.
I don't know if you've seen any teams just come out and play man and say, take your best shot. So normally the looks that Red Mountain's seen has been, you know, too deep coverage, especially in a passing situation. So the safeties are over the top on all those throws. Hamilton's not playing that coverage. And I think they've identified that, and they're going to continue to take shots. So, again, all those things go hand in hand. So when you're able to stretch the defense and take shots, it forces them into a too deep coverage, which is going to open up more run lanes underneath.
And not only with that and talking about the aerial attack, but I think the biggest takeaway may be that Zay Savoy has clearly had his best game of the season tonight, and it's against one of the best opponents that he's faced.
Yes.
So he's proven himself.
And that bodes very well going forward for the remainder of this football season. He has shown himself to be a premier back, a workhorse, and I'm excited to see him let loose here at the end of the season, see what he can do.
Talon Lamb with a good carry this time around, but I feel like no matter what happens as you look into the future and down the road into the playoffs, even if Simon Lopez gets his hamstring healthy and back into the lineup, the Wildcat formation was really successful tonight, and that's something that they busted out of the playbook and worked on all week long, knowing that you had the injury to Lopez, and it's something that you keep there with how successful it's been.
Absolutely. And you build off of it as well. You add some more wrinkles. Maybe you change the personnel around him so maybe it's a double tight set.
Heap on the 4th down try takes a deep shot, and that'll be a turnover on downs. Looking downfield for Rigdon Mills.
I don't know if he ever really found the football. He was just kind of running to the spot, and it looked like he never really got situated where it was going to land.
So a couple of knees now should do it for Hamilton. And 49-28 will be the final, but obviously moments in this game where it was a little bit back and forth and went from 3 scores to 2 scores, back to 3 scores and back to 2 scores, where Red Mountain tried to stay in it but just couldn't catch up.
And looking at this team early in the year, I would not have guessed that they'd be in a 4-game slide at any point. Now I know the schedule's tough, and like you mentioned, there's no slouches on the schedule. So
I think the 2 of those that they really could have won was against Highland and ALA back-to-back. Those were both gettable games because you were leading Highland at the half, and then turnover in the 3rd quarter set up a scoring drive for Highland, and then another turnover did the same thing. So just little mistakes in the second half. And then the one against ALA is they just ended up having the last possession, kicking a field goal to win it by 3.
Yep. And now, again, still everything they want to accomplish is available to them at this point. You got to get the win next week and then jockey for position playoff-wise.
Hamilton make it 11 in a row against Red Mountain, dating all the way back to the 05-06 season with a 49-28 victory tonight on homecoming night for Hamilton. As we get into players of the game, we'll take one from each side here. First off, looking at the Hamilton side at home, I mean, you have to dive into the duo backfield, and I would give it to Braylon Blunt with the game he had.
Unquestionably, yes. He is phenomenal tonight.
2 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing for Braylon Blunt, and I think for Red Mountain, you talk about the deep shots, B-Dubs has to be the guy there. The 60-yard touchdown reception and the 66-yard touchdown reception, he really broke loose in the second half.
I would agree with that. I don't want to diminish what Savoy was able to do tonight because I think he really carried the offense for a large portion of the game. But Wagner was a little bit more dynamic tonight for sure.
And with that, Savoy got a touchdown on the ground, making it 3 in a row. And we'll see how they can finish the season. So we'll be back with you next week for Red Mountain at home against Mountain View. As for Hamilton, they move on to Chandler on the road, 49-28, the final here. Hamilton on top. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to RMTV. For Chris Andriotis and the whole crew here, I'm Zach Warhack. We will see you next week. Everybody get home safe and have a great weekend.